Hey everyone, we are here at ERUCC. We are in the newly refurbished conference room, and I'm here with Will Duncan, and this is our fourth edition of the Church Street Chat summer video series. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Just fine.
All right, thanks for being here.
Sure.
Before we get into some of the deeper questions, really quickly, just your full name.
Will Duncan.
Okay, and favorites. What is your favorite food?
It's got to be pizza. I figure pizza's got all the major food groups in it, so you can always, it's a go-to.
All right, so
Even in my old age, it's a go-to.
do you have a favorite type of pizza?
Not really. I like all different sorts, you know. Some of the exotic ones. I'm not a big fan of Hawaiian pizza. Sorry
Okay.
about that, you
All
Hawaiian fans, but
Well, whatever. You know.
Yeah.
And favorite game?
I'm a baseball fan, so I used to play baseball when I was younger, and
Awesome.
so I'm still. Even though it's probably everybody complains it's very slow, but I'm still a fan. So.
Okay. All right. Well, so how long have you been a member here at ERUCC?
I believe about 27 years. My wife and I started here, and my daughter started in either late 80s or early 90s, so that's about 27.
All right. And briefly tell us a little bit about your journey that led you here to ERUCC.
Well, like I just said, my daughter was our daughter, my wife Kathy and I, our daughter Laura was 4 or 5, and we decided that we should expose her to a faith community. So we had some friends that were coming to ERUCC, and we came one Christmas Eve, and that was fairly enjoyable. We had Laura was still kind of antsy in the pew, but we muddled through. And then probably later that year, we started coming full time and haven't left. So
Great. So the first time you visited, what was one thing that really had an impact on you?
Well, being a history guy, I was sort of intrigued with the historic buildings. You know, our new building is from 1848, so I always thought that was pretty neat. But the other part was that there were a lot of young families and young people involved in the church as well. Plus, some of them were, third, fourth generation of families that have been at the church for that long. So that was sort of intriguing to me.
Neat. So over the years, you said you've been here for 27 years. So over the years, how have you been involved in ERUCC in the life of the church?
Well, it's a fairly long list. I won't bore you with all of those. But early on, I became a deacon, and that means you get to serve on consistory. And soon after that, I was asked to be consistory president. So that I did that for about 5 years, I believe. So that was a bit of a challenge at times. But after that, I became an elder, worked on two of the pastor search committees,
Okay.
and then most recently I was the co-chair of the capital campaign for the new building.
And in addition to being your place of worship, how has ERUCC played a role in your faith journey?
Well, it's a very warm and friendly family kind of place, but I think for my faith journey, it's being exposed to people of strong faith and just sort of picking up, and they're leading by example. Certainly the pastors that have been here, some of the strong members of the congregation, has really strengthened my faith in seeing how other people deal with that.
Neat.
So.
So do you feel that ERUCC has been able to use your own personal talents and gifts in the life of the church?
Well, they certainly have asked. That's always been a bit of a challenge. I thought it was some of the things that I've been asked to do have been a bit of a stretch for me personally. I don't feel like I'm the stand up front person that much, but I get to do that with consistory president, like the capital campaign, and those kinds of things. So.
Okay. And how has ERUCC changed over the years since you've been here? Through attitudes or values?
Well, my observation is I think the values have stayed the same. I think our personification of those values is much more vocal, and it's more out there. I mean, certainly, and the dynamics of certainly once we became open and affirming, there's the change in the dynamics and the fact that there's a lot more energy now than there was in the days. Not that it was bad before, but there's just a certain, everybody's pretty much willing to jump in and do things. So it's been pretty neat.
Right. And how would you describe ERUCC to someone that you met on the street?
Well, I sort of stole our elevator speech. I mean, the thing is, again, for me, it says we are in a historic congregation, but we are willing and able to embrace the challenges that the world brings to us today.
Great. So, real quickly, before we leave, name one of your favorite memories from ERUCC, and then something that you're excited about in the future.
Okay. Well, I guess I got to go back to we used to have a talent show, just sort of for fun. It was a potluck supper, I'm sure, but everybody, from the little kids doing magic tricks and to older folks doing a pantomime or a song or whatever. It was just a lot of fun, and we got a lot of enjoyment out of that.
Neat.
And in the future, maybe we can get to do some of those things in the new building. One of the reasons we stopped was that the space was too small. But and then embracing the community or encouraging the community to come into our new space. So that's what I look forward to in the future.
Great. Well, thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right.